Hey, folks, welcome to this week's Check In with the Doctor. This week, I have a special guest with me. I recently interviewed my good friend and business partner, Scott Cassidy of ASLAN Training and Development. And near the end of our interview, I asked him if he had ever given a demonstration that went horribly wrong. And he responded with a story that he called, in his own words, a car crash of a demo. So give a listen to his story, and then at the end, I'll share my observations about the story that he shared.
So if I may, my second job after Kodak was a software company called Parametric Technology, and I do remember just if you could draw up a car crash of a demo, this would have been it. And just to 30 seconds on what happened. I had a great relationship with my system engineer. I would set up the scenario. I would sort of provide the context. They were there to then take it and just bring it to life. This was CAD CAM software, so pretty awesome stuff at the time. And what happened was, probably my fault. It was a team communication fallout. We went to the demo probably too quickly, and our regional vice president last minute parachuted in and wanted to come to this meeting. It was at a very large account, and it was a great opportunity for us. And the system engineer kind of freaked out in the middle. Just couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time. Couldn't, as you always say, can't talk and move a mouse at the same time.
Right.
Could not get any of the features to really come to life, and just got really flustered. It was very sad, and I was trying to save it by doing what good sales reps do, tap dancing over in the other corner and trying to keep attention off it.
Right.
The VP decided to say, this isn't working, in front of everybody, embarrass the system engineer, and just pull the plug on the whole thing.
Oh.
And, I think people just kind of saw through that. I think people understood that, an SE might have a bad day. And I think, would have had a better chance of righting the ship if I was just allowed to tap dance a little bit while I gave the system engineer 2 minutes to just kind of pull his mind back.
Figure it out.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what went wrong there? As I reflected on this years later, I think, we didn't have enough communication up front to make sure the system engineer, not that you script those things, but you do a little bit. Like, here's the things I want to show. You got a little piece of paper with a couple ideas. Maybe we didn't do enough of that, and allowing a VP of sales to parachute in unannounced in the last couple minutes and not give them the direction of their role in that. That was my fault. Like, that can't happen. And that guy screwed it up for everybody. By the way, he was the worst sales leader I have ever worked for. He was just horrific. And part of the reason I didn't stay with that company.
Well, and I'll ask this rhetorically, anticipating your answer, but I'm going to clear my cache, as you just encouraged me to do. What do you think his motivation was in blowing it up like he did?
Yeah, that group had an interesting reputation as just being. You remember the movie The Boiler Room?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen
it. This idea that sales was all about, the sales rep winning and the customer losing in the negotiation. That was the way that leadership team sort of believed. That company's lived a long time after that, and I'm fairly convinced it's because they changed that style. I think the motivation was a couple-fold. One is to show his power over his sales rep, maybe knowing that deal was going south anyway, but to assert his strength and his masculinity in front of all of us. And the second thing, I think it was, he didn't know any better, right? I think it was sort of how he was taught, how he was mentored, and didn't even have the thought of the other-centered piece. Like, the motivation was completely self-serving, not, oh my gosh, what that kid is going through right now. That poor young man is just. Now, granted, that guy's got to own it. He freaked out, and when I say freaked out, he wasn't running around with his hair on fire, but he was clearly lost.
Totally.
And rather than helping it, he just poured gas on it, and I think that's so self-serving. So I would say the answer to your question is he had a self-service motive.
Yeah, that and I couldn't have given all the color that you provided, but that was exactly what I was thinking. Is he was probably personally embarrassed,
Yeah.
right? And it was hurting his ego on some level,
Yeah.
right? And it was sort of out of almost self-preservation, right?
Yeah.
That he felt like he had blown up.
What a great story that Scott shared. He said so many things that I want to just sort of double down on. And in fact, I took a few notes. First of all, I love the fact that he mentioned the term team communication and emphasized how important it is to be aligned as a sales team before you go into a presentation or a demonstration. And it's so easy to overlook, and yet it's such an obvious thing that we need to be doing. And I just love the fact that he accepted full responsibility. He said, look, it was my fault, right? I own it. And don't we all love to work with sales professionals and sales individuals who take full ownership for the opportunity and full ownership for every meeting? Because at the end of the day, they really are ultimately responsible for the engagement. He mentioned that they went into the demo too quickly. And how often do we see that, right? We're so eager to get in there and show our wares, so to speak, show the demonstration. And it's just another reminder that sometimes slower is faster. And as Scott just shared, faster is disaster. And he shared the part of the story that really sort of turned what was not a particularly good demo into a complete car crash, as he referred to it, when the VP of sales, who parachuted in at the last minute, sort of blew the thing up. And I think there's a couple lessons to be learned there. One of the thoughts that I had, and I've experienced this myself, I think when we're in the context of an opportunity, I think job title doesn't equal rank. In fact, I think in the context of an opportunity or in the context of a sales engagement, the sales person, the sales individual who owns that opportunity and owns the strategy, they outrank even their senior officers or even their management folks in the context of that opportunity. And he even, again, Scott even said, like, I should have told him what his role was. I should have been more assertive in that case. And that's a difficult thing to do. I've been there. I've had my senior vice president join me for meetings. I've had the CEO join me for meetings. And sometimes you feel like you need to, quote, bow to them or take, sort of a second seat to them, so to speak. But in the context of the opportunity, when we're the salesperson responsible, we really need to take ownership. And the only other observation that I'll share is, Scott, he used the term like poured gas on it, right? When the VP sort of blew it up. The reminder for me is that it's not what happens during a demonstration that really causes things to go haywire. It's how we respond. Here's the reality, and many of you, probably all of you, know this. Stuff happens during a demo, right? Product doesn't work, network problems. Sometimes we as a sales engineer or even our sales counterparts, we get flustered, we sort of lose our train of thought, right? Sometimes we do need to just press the pause button. I believe that the way in which we respond to those situations, and particularly if we can demonstrate a team collaboration and respect and courtesy for our teammates and can sort of work through it together, actually demonstrates that even though the product's not working perfectly right now, we might very well be the type of team and the type of individuals that this organization or this prospect might want to do business with. So with that, I'll bid you farewell. At the end of the day, remember, people buy from people, and we need to be human in our roles as sales engineers and sales professionals. Talk to you next week.